for this session. I'm waiting for the other speaker, Dr. Priya Kaul. So we'll give her a couple of minutes. It's 5:03, 5:05. We then kick off with you and we'll have Dr. Priya Kaul joining us later. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. So let's do a little bit of unfreeze. We will share, of course, live. We'll go live now to introduce you. So welcome to this World Economic Forum 2020 Digital Global Summit, headquartered or organized out of Bangalore, as I know and understand. And you, I understand, are based in Bangalore. So you are a local to that extent, but this forum is a global forum. I'm trying to adjust the lighting to fit.
Sure.
Yeah, great. Okay, so here we go. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, viewers across the world and on the live stream on Facebook and YouTube. WEF 2020 welcomes you to this session. It's session number 118. We have with us Suma Ann, who is a working professional. She is currently with Honeywell. Honeywell, as you know, is many things. They are in the forefront of technology, automated solutions, aircraft components, healthcare and medical technology devices, and so on and so forth. Suma is from the research and development side of things. She heads innovation. She also heads other sides of this whole program in her huge international brand called Honeywell today. Many of you will know that many control systems in many products that we use are made by Honeywell. Am I right? Am I going right, Suma,
right.
so far? Some of them are called lifts in some part of the world and elevators in other parts of the world. There are medical equipment also that Honeywell deals in. I've had the privilege of working with Honeywell on a couple of initiatives a few years back. I've also had some kind of acquaintance with your earlier association with Pace Technologies, which was acquired by Philips. And you've spent a long time with Philips. Philips, in fact, is its Bangalore headquarters in Manyata Tech Park. For those who understand, Bangalore is the home of R&D and engineering and information technology and ICT and anything in between. And Honeywell has a very large establishment in Bangalore. And so too is Suma's earlier association with a huge brand called Philips, Dutch conglomerate, which has a very long and very deep presence in India. Lighting at one point of time was associated with Philips in India until a few more brands entered in the later half of the 90s, so to say. Philips is headquartered in Manyata Tech Park in office spaces which are owned by one of the companies I used to head. So I have a deep association. In fact, we moved you all your 4,000 strong people across all those three buildings that house Philips. So I have a connection to you, Suma, through the brick and mortar infrastructure. Okay, there we go. So, yeah. So why don't you now give a broader view of what you do to the world which is listening to this session. And I'm sure many of the ladies and many of the men all across, whether they're part of WEF, ALL, the All Ladies League, the global platform, I think some members of the organization's committee, as well as those who, as well as the global chairperson, Dr. Harveen Arora, and the team must be listening, wanting to know more about what is Suma, what does she do. And very importantly, the subject that we are going to deal with today is a very important subject, and I will leave it in the hands of experts like you to state the subject, give a brief about yourself, and then we will shoot.
Yeah,
the
sure.
platform is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really a very wonderful introduction of mine. Thanks a lot for that. I think you have exhaustively covered in length and breadth of it. And it's really good to know that we are acquaintances at some point of time, right?
Sure.
Even though we have not seen each other, right? Okay, so something about me, what I do at Honeywell. I am responsible for innovation strategy for this entire group of uneven process solutions. And we are about 600 plus in our group, particularly to say, which I'm responsible for. And I'm also responsible for architecture governance of the products, which involve the, as you rightly said, the control systems, basically, but yes, of course, into the oil and gas industries and other plant, processing industry like pharma and others. So that's our main part of it. Right now, we are trying to get into the pharma also. And so this one is for the architecture governance, and which I head the system architects group, right, and the senior architects as part of my group as well, which are responsible to ensure that we take care of all the technical risk evaluation and ensure we are giving the safer products to plants. And of course, the people are working there, and we are trying to do much more and beyond, utilizing innovation, as you now call it, as emerging technologies, the cutting edge technologies we are trying to use to see how we adopt the upcoming technologies to ensure that we provide efficient and self-sufficient products itself. So in the nutshell, that's
Great.
about what we do.
So what it means is the billions of dollars that large brands like yours spend, you ensure it is wisely spent, and those
Yes.
products actually work for the customers and
That
work well, work safely, work efficiently. So there is sustainability in it. There is concern for human safety in it, and ease of use, or the UX experience, so to say, user experience.
yeah,
So brilliant.
actually, yeah, thanks
And
for
you
that.
ensure that. So you have a big job there,
Yes.
lady. Great.
Very
So,
big.
okay.
Sure.
So you obviously enjoy it, because I see that the animation and the passion with which you said, whatever you said about your profession and yourself, it's great. What about the not professional, not work-related side? What else is Suma? And then we will get on to the subject.
Sure. I love artwork, like anything related to something artistic or a sketching part of it, and I love dancing. Of course, I need not have any kind of a training kind of a thing. As you know, the music makes me dance, so I'm always in the tune of dancing. So much to say that my children will say, "Mama, I think you should stop dancing at times." So I love dancing for sure, and then I also like long drives. So whenever I need that kind of stressless life, of course, I take my car and I have Innova, and then I go long drives. That really is a big stress buster for me. And of course, I'm a big movie freak. So, I normally do see a lot of movies,
So
Fridays.
for all those of you from Bollywood and Hollywood and who make films or who sell films and distribution, here is one customer who has been putting money into your pockets. Yeah?
You can definitely say that, because
Okay.
I also get people along to see
So we will
movies
now
along with
go
me.
on a very short drive. It's actually 11 minutes and we have consumed 3. There is 8 more minutes to go, and it will be a stress buster not only for you, but for every viewer and listener across. So let's get on to the subject. Why don't you give the viewers an idea why this subject, what is the subject, why, and then you expand on those. And I will try to not butt in at all.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So yes, so what I would do is probably give a small basic part of it, because there are varied people, not basically from the technology kind of a sphere, right? So what is our architecture and artificial intelligence per se, right? In layman terms, what I would like to put it up as, now we know traditional computer programming, right? We know that any simple layman terms, people know that we give an input, then the computer processes it, and then we get an output. So that is what we all know about the computer technology, or the programming part of it. Now, like again, as I said, in a simple terms, what is artificial intelligence? What are we trying to do? It's pretty much the same, but here the game changes in terms of what we are feeding into the system itself, the processing unit itself, right? Here we are going to feed the input, and we are going to already tell them what is the system itself, what is the output, right, to the system, and we'll let the system actually do the processing, right? So I would give an example, simple example. I think most of the women would relate, and of course, I think men would also want that to happen. A very simple example is like, probably I would want to go for a shopping, but I would want it to be make it very quick. But having said that, I also want to really feel the product, right? And I want to go there and I want to see, but also save some time because I'm a working woman, professional. So what I would do is I have an app with me. I would already sort out things like, I could even voice it out saying that this is what I need. Women tend to be more specific as well. If it's a cucumber, right? A tender cucumber, slim, whatever it could be. So I would go by my own natural content, providing it to the app. And by the time I reach the shop, all this, the stuff, the things which I have told would have already been processed, right? And I add on to the entrance of the shopping mall and I get there, and I would have already got in the app saying, okay, this is the direction. It already gives me the direction. Okay, go there, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. And here it is also to an extent where it's giving me options. For example, I would want to go for a cream, face cream or lotion, and it would already give me options. These are the options which is available. And looking at my preference, which I would have bought before, it's already suggesting. So it makes life simpler for me, right? Then I just go pick up the things because it's already giving me the direction there. I pick up, I put it in the trolley, and as and when I put it there, the accounting of each stuff which I bring in, right? It's already accounted for because I have this flashcard, right? The moment I enter, it's already been accounted for. And by the time I reach the counter and gazing at the long queue, I would definitely smile at myself saying that I don't want to go there because I did not need the necessity because already the billing is done. I just go out of the entrance and I get into my car. That's it. As simple as it is, right? So here what you observe is I would like to bring in few aspects of it. What is the necessity? I mean, if I have to relate to it, we need data. Having said that, like data is what I give it. It's in the form of speech. There's a conversion happening, and then there is this input is what is being given to the processing unit, which I already explained. And what is the output which I'm already giving is my preferences of the previous, whatever I had done the shopping. So the processing is actually the AI, artificial intelligence. It's computing it. It's already getting into the finance part of it, accounting for part of it. So it's a really cool game where I'm really not having any stress about it. I've got all the things what I want. I've felt it. I just go home and then cook. And by the way, there is a lot of other things also. By the time I go and I already can tell I want to cook this, right? Then already if there is a event, there's already preheated being done. Then I go there and then just put the stuff in. So it's a very simple example which I've given. And I would also like to.
Fantastic. So I want to share this and translate this in a minute to audiences who may
Sure.
not understand processing. So let me take the example of Suma. So Suma as a live person thinks cucumber as something tender and fresh, slim. Suma knows where she wants to go, and she uses a voice recognition system to tell the app on her mobile phone, cucumber. Because the app has captured Suma's preferences, it knows that when Suma says cucumber, it should be tender, it should be fresh, and it should be slim.
Sure.
I'm trying to build the AI Suma out of the real Suma. Okay. And it already knows that. It knows you have said whatever. You have named a mall or you have named a grocery store. It also knows by habit maybe that it is this store, and it starts giving you on your mobile phone. It opens up Google Maps and tells you how to go there, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just adding some flavor to this. And then when you reach there, this app using artificial intelligence, the artificial intelligence portion of it is already sent the shopping list like the cucumber, many other items, whatever you had wanted, to that outlet, to that store. And if it is not self-service, it possibly would have been kept ready because you had said you want 500 grams of this and 2 liters of that, and
Sure.
2 pieces of this size of that, etc. So your cart is filled by the time you reach the store. And if it's a drive-in, it is bagged, ready for you. And in today's COVID world, It has been sanitized and bagged. And like the MACD drive-ins, you go and flash your card, contactless again, and it just picked up your payment. And then you pick your bag and you drive across back home, where, like you said, the oven is warmed up. Okay. Possibly if you have a connected device, the knife is already out, so on and so forth. So what artificial intelligence does is take the need for an individual to do the 20 steps. Unconsciously or subconsciously, we do many things because we are unconsciously competent about certain things. Like driving, if I were to ask you, how many gears did you shift and how many times you braked and how many times you accelerated, you wouldn't know, even in a 1 kilometer. But when you learned driving, each one of those steps were taught. We were conscious about what we were doing. We used to look at the gearbox, or we used to look at the foot. And when we looked at the foot and then looked up, there is a car coming, so we will go jittery. From that level of incompetence, we became fully competent where it is unconscious. Artificial intelligence enables devices, whether it is a hard device or an app, and helps people navigate through whatever they want to do seamlessly by a few clues or a few inputs. You need to give less inputs and it works seamlessly. And because it is automated, the human error element has been taken out. Every time it would do it well to the best possible. Is that a good way of trying to put it across?
It is. So to add on, because there are many other, sub cases.
Sure.
And I think it's good that you added the COVID element of it. Yes, that is definitely a sterilization part of it, and the various other use cases can be added to it. Now, I just wanted to quickly relate. People would be listening to more of this machine learning, deep learning, a lot of algorithms, right?
Sure.
A lot of jargon. So, like as you rightly said, if I could quickly connect to what you said, the learning experience, right? So this is nothing but the machine learning part of it. So given all these preferences as a data, so how is this machine learning it? How is it learning Suma's behavior, Suma's preferences, and then acting upon it, and then giving us an outcome? So again, just to relate to things, right? If people would have heard about it. So yes, you rightly have put up in a right spectrum and perspective so that people can really understand that. That's true. So, and the other thing I would say, I think people could relate much even more is on the health matter of the use case, right? Why I would like to bring that is I want to give a relativity to the real what is happening right now, or even otherwise we would be always using in the health case perspective, and then actually bring in the concept of what is in a nutshell about three things we talk about AI, right? So again, a use case on healthcare I would like to put across is anybody, any patient, right, would go to the hospital, is diagnosed like let's say lung cancer or something, right? God forbid. So let's put up that. So he has his reports already with him, or is diagnosed. So what are we calling this? I will also try to relate to the technical part of it, each phases, right?
Sure.
So this report, as we know, now things have changed. So all these are digitized. It's all there in the system. So this is nothing but for us, what we speak and technically as data for us, right? So this is where it is a phase one. Now, this is something like when the doctor sees it, he very well knows what is this patient diagnosed with, what are this detailed part of it, why is this happening, what is, to what extent is really being, what is the stage is crossed and all that. So these are the details of the report. So for this, we call it as, to bring it in real, again, simple terms, the details of the data itself. What is that we need, right? Now this data is taken, and for a doctor, he would want everything to be, a very descriptive way. So when this data is fed, now this AI again brings an outcome where it will show to the doctor. So doctor, here you go. These are the elements. These are the factors that could be leading this. And these are the attributes of this disease. These are the medical tests which has been performed. So this gives a descriptive data for the doctor. Now there beyond, what happens is, now we don't want to stop at that, right? We also want to know, or even doctor wants to know, what this disease could have a side effect on, what else could impact him in his human body. Now we are all thinking about in the entity of a body. It's no more
Right.
no more like one organ, as we all know, multi-organ disorder, all these diseases, right? So there you get a perspective of thinking that, okay, I wish I can get a processing where I know what could happen in the future,
Okay.
right? So this data is actually a feeder to this, again, another set of algorithms, if I would like to put it up as in a technical terms. So we call this as predictive analysis, right?
Okay.
So we predict what could be the futuristic disease this person could have probably, right? And what all it could impact, whether it could impact even the other organs of his body or not, right? So this data is very important for this doctor to take any decision on his prescriptive, the prescriptions, what he would give, or what he would ask the patient to go through his treatment analysis, right?
Okay.
So this phase is very important again. So we spoke about the descriptive. So if you really relate to the technical terms I'm saying, then predictive, this is what we already want, right? Then going beyond, what if the doctor really wants to again test his own brain knowledge and say, how about I having another set of algorithms to see what can the system or machine prescribe, right? Because machine is a lot of database, and but the doctor will have to be reliably relative to retrieve from his own brain cells or from
Sure.
the books, right?
The
So then,
second opinion from an expert.
exactly. So what happens is he gets the outcome from this set of algorithms. We call it as, again, prescriptive algorithms, right? So
Okay.
these are the three phases we're talking about. And there you go. I mean, we have this data where we say, this is what can be done so that you could possibly reduce the side effects of this and this, and so on and so forth. This is a
Sure.
very, a use case where we can relate, where I
Brilliant.
can
Yeah.
map it to the things. So having said that, when we talk about data, so now we at least we understood the data is so important, right? We all have seen, and we all know about the Facebook story and other things also, because the preferences calculations is actually done by this data, what we get,
Sure.
right?
Exactly. Exactly. You talked about it. You said this medical case is very interesting. Somebody is being diagnosed by one doctor through a set of tests, and
Mm-hmm.
out comes a report.
Mm-hmm.
And that report, when it is studied through technology using artificial intelligence, it brings out both a descriptive output for the doctor to understand in his or her language, and enables them to reach a decision on treatment or advice. And for that, they look at predisposition of the patient, and that is your prescriptive things on side effects, etc., which leads to, okay, amongst three choices of medicines, should the person go through something or not? Should they go through X or Y or not? The side effects story. And then you talked about multi-organ failures, which is one of the big things that is talked about today. So artificial intelligence enhances, according to me, if I put it, enhances the ability of any expert to focus not just on that part of specialization. And doctors today specialize by the inch. Somebody is a nose specialist, doesn't know the lip. Somebody is a lip specialist, doesn't know the jaw, right?
Yeah.
So but what's happening on the nose can affect the eyes, can affect the brain, can affect the mouth, can affect the jaw. So doctors need to know the correlationship between one disease or one effect on the other, and predictive analysis through artificial intelligence helps that.
Yes.
Correct?
That's
Brilliant. Because all of us are today acutely conscious of health, hygiene, personal safety, so on and so forth. So if we could we could have these tools, and I think many of them are already showing up in the real world. I think technology is being put in, and these things are happening. Go on. Lovely to hear this, Suma. I hope the audience is enjoying. Can you hear somebody clapping? There is a shout out for you. Okay.
So, you know what, even my own personal experience, if I can bring in here, right? My father was suffering from diabetes, and it was way back in 2015, right? I really did feel the need of this, because what happens typically, even now, I think it's happening, like, the patient goes to the ICU, then one after the other thing starts coming out, right? Okay, this multi failure, especially when the person is diabetic. Then I really wish then, thinking that first of all, I wished I would have been a doctor, but then now being an engineer also, we can do something about it, right? Why can't the doctors get this know-how already, that given doing this, maybe this can impact, doing this, maybe this other something else can impact. So now I'm glad that actually we are going in the direction where, before the patient gets into ICU, there is already a law coming out to the doctor saying, mind you, if this happens, otherwise, if you have seen, or if you have realized such cases, at least in case of my father, there was a lot of experimentation being done on the patient, on my father. So
Sure.
that is like you're actually testing on a human being, right? Now we have an ability to do it in a simulation mode, and with all the data which is already there from, like as you said, no specialist, ENT specialist, the orthodontist, whoever, that all the data which is there. So data is key again here, right? And as I speak about data, it is very important for us also to know about this. We have GDPR thing, right? The General Data Protection Regulation, which comes into a picture. That's very important. Again, we have been hearing about that. Any point of time, any data which is, this is where data scientists are actually challenged with. So this is something which we'll have to
How much is
ensure.
legally permissible to be shared and
Yes,
not,
yes,
etc.
yes. For example, even medical data, anonymizing the data and then taking it. So this is something which is one challenge I can see for the
Yes,
data
there is
science.
patient-doctor confidentiality.
Yeah.
Similarly, in law, there is a relationship-based confidentiality, and it's coming in all spheres of life.
Yeah.
Suma, quickly moving on, I want you to summarize one thing. The
Mm-hmm.
use of these technologies, every technology and every improvement in technology and every innovation justifies its existence.
Mm-hmm.
But many of them, however brilliant it has been in its discovery, all of them have never benefited society or people for whom it was envisaged,
Mm-hmm.
or it was not applied fully to get the full benefits, right?
Yeah.
And we end up blaming technology for that. Artificial intelligence, in one case, which
Mm-hmm.
is our social media,
Yeah.
which uses AI in many forms to bring out the Suma from the mass of activity that you do on your mobile phone, on your platforms in Facebook and Insta and Twitter, your buying that you do online and wherever in all the platforms, and in the physical world, when you visit the mall or go to a movie and you have scanned something, and your payment history, the places that you have visited, the online tickets you bought, the hotels you stayed, and you checked in, all of it, Big Brother is constantly picking up data and
Yep.
relating it to you as it is to the 8 billion people in the world in many ways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
many of them are good because it gives, for various requirements,
Mm-hmm.
things about you which is going to be beneficial to you when used well. But there is this issue of privacy. There
Yep.
is privacy in certain part of the world. There is issue of misuse. There is issue of access to you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And many countries, including India, have a law of privacy which says that you have the right to privacy, and therefore things pertaining to you is
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily to be shared or made known even to you.
Yeah.
Why do you want somebody to know that you like the color pink or yellow,
Yeah.
and therefore bombard you with clothes which of that color,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want all your friends on Facebook to know that you want only pink roses, for example, for a birthday. how
Mm-hmm.
how sad when you get 50 bouquets all pink roses, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to drown in pink, right? uh,
Sure.
uh,
Sure.
or that you like this whatever,
Mm.
this chocolate or that whatever.
Why should
How
others know?
boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why should others?
Sure. Sorry, I get a freeze on your screen. Is it a problem with this network?
Stop,
Yeah.
stop the negative side, and how does it benefit people? And give us a product example to do that.
Okay, unfortunately, probably I'll not be able to talk about the products what we are doing at Honeywell, but
It's okay.
then
See, the law of privacy has come.
that is true.
Confidentiality.
Yeah,
All of it. Yeah.
confidentiality for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Something about a product which is out in the market, how it is functioning more efficiently because of use of AI.
like I said, I would normally bring in the healthcare perspective, because I've seen that in, I
Okay.
hope I can talk about this continuum, content to continuum in Philips, which we used to have, right? So that was the main target for us, right? And I've seen in neurology, the stroke communicator tools, which we used to make, like before the person, we had something called a stroke communicator tool, which we had developed an app on iOS, right? On the handheld mobile device, where before the person, or in fact, the 0th minute the person gets a stroke, this has to be communicated, right? So then we had not implemented AI, but I am sure that now they have taken it.
Hold it, Suma. This is a brilliant one. Let's talk about this in great detail and focus very clearly, quickly. For those of us, or those of you who have had a stroke, unfortunately, or an unlikely event, you've had a heart attack. And like strokes and heart attacks, there is a golden period. There is a definite amount of time. And the golden period is what, 30 minutes or 60 minutes?
60 minutes.
60 minutes.
Yeah.
If you can get access to medical care within that 60 minutes, 9 out of 10, with a very, very high percentage, A, that you're alive and you will be in this WEF. Number 2, that you get medical care and side effects are minimized. So this golden hour of 60 minutes is the rule on which, with respect to some of these heart attacks, strokes, etc., medical fraternity is working. How do I make sure that A, people get the clues and the signals before such an event happens?
Sure.
And how can it automatically be transmitted to the nearest healthcare facility or doctor or whatever? And 2, in the unlikely event or unfortunate event happens, how quickly can certain things, like an ambulance gets a trigger and in 7 minutes it reaches, and then in the next 15 minutes, you are in the emergency. For that, of course, in Bangalore, they have to build roads. But given that, how does it happen? And this is where I want to tell you to tell the audience and the world how artificial intelligence helps.
Sure. See, where I had worked about this stroke indicator, because I was part of that project, we implemented it for one of the Netherlands hospital. Then we didn't have AI, which meant that only after the stroke occurs, we started taking action within the 60 minutes. Now, coming back to your question, how I would have applied AI, or right now, how we could do it. I hope it's not patentable now, because I'm not sure whether this has happened at this point of time. As I speak, I'm getting this, right? Probably I have to go back and think about the patentability.
There's another project, we will co-patent it now.
Wow, okay, sure. So like as I said, if you recollect, the data part is the key, right? Data is the new oil, as we say. Now, as I spoke about this patient, let's take an example of this patient, Ram. Just I got this name, right? Ram, all the records, all the data is already there with his personal doctor, let's say. And it's already connected to the cloud, and all this data is there. And he has a Fitbit. Like I said, I think we'll have to patent, we have to think about it soon after this call. So he has this health, Fitbit kind of a thing, where time and again, all his processing health parameters are getting processed, right? Again, it will take, it's always dependent on this process parameters are getting uploaded to the cloud, and the cloud is connected to the hospital, let's say, right? And there's already something certain as Fitbit or the health indicator monitoring system, where we say if there is something going wrong beyond the relevant.
I have a health app on my mobile phone.
Okay, good.
Similar to your Fitbit.
The only thing is your mobile is not with you all the time.
Correct.
right?
And it is
So
not, yeah, fit, but any variable
any
is good.
variable, I would like to
Yeah.
say, yeah, any variable, for example, but this variable should have the capability to already gauge what is the actual normal parameters of his heartbeat, let's say, of any kind of, especially heartbeat is what we calculate, and the pressure
Sure.
and weight goes, right? The
So
BP.
standard versus the
Exact.
deviation.
Off beats,
Okay.
right?
Right. Right.
Immediately, even before, it will not wait till we go to the offset, right? Even before it goes to that non-permissible smaller degree of it, then there's a trigger, and all those will be configured already by the doctor or whoever is going to be using, right? It's configured in such a way that for this kind of a person, for this patient, what should be that permissible thing? Accordingly, there's an indicator going to the doctor already, and it gets
Right.
he gets a, probably he's carrying a mobile phone, right? He has an app, and then that's again connected to the cloud. So he gets a beep saying that this patient, and who is at a distance of this so and so, right, needs help and attention, right? And then it also gives an option to dial to this patient's number, because everything is again fed as a data in his mobile. So he just has to click a button, a dial call, and then it goes to the patient. And then if the patient is not picking, let's say, because he may be sleeping or whatever, then it goes
Or
to
he
the
may have
second
reached the
option.
next critical stage.
Yeah, so it goes to the next option, where again the emergency contacts are already stored with it. So again,
Right.
click on that, and then first contact is the main person, or it also depends on how we configure, right?
Right.
Again, depending on whether the person is senior citizen or whatever that case is, right? And then immediately the call goes there, then the ambulance is already being set up from the hospital to reach the patient's house, and the patient is brought in. And again, the ambulance is set up in such a way within that is already getting that kind of a care prior to reaching the hospital. So all
And the
the
emergency. Okay.
and the emergency. So within that,
Okay.
so which means we are not allowing this to even go into that 0th minute of that golden hour, or whatever we call it as.
So Suma, what you're saying is, A, a patient does not go to the doctor. The doctor knows when his patient is getting into
Yes.
some issue, number one. So
Yeah.
it's proactive. It
Yes.
is preemptive measure. Artificial intelligence allows preemptive and proactive measures. Correct?
True. Agree.
Okay. So in another instance, somebody is in a resort and the kid is playing by the pool, does not know swimming. This data is there in the wearable the kid is having. And if it's going too close to the deep end of the pool, there could be a beep and the mother's alarm goes up, and right? And the mother kicks the father, say, run, catch it. Correct?
Yeah, anything. So it all depends on what we want to see, what we want to envision, how we want to configure as well. That's right.
Brilliant. So what you're saying, it is applicable in every walk of life.
Yes.
To make our life less stressful.
Yeah.
More predictable.
Yep.
Easier. Convenient. And all the good stuff.
Yes, yes.
As artificial intelligence reaches the stage where you will find a perfect match for every man and every woman and every, so we'll get the perfect child, perfect son, perfect father. None of those.
Definitely not at that. Definitely not at that. So
he stopped with the.
No, we are still not reached that fiction which we still see in some of the science fiction movies. It's
all the Bollywood movies show
it's already there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're not
Honeywell has to catch up with Bollywood. Okay.
I think the entire world is not there yet. So this, we call it as generic AI, general AI, right? So all these applications are more for this commercial parts of it. We are still just yet touched the surface or crashed the surface, I would say. Yeah. So because it's all about integrating the available data, making sense out of it, right? And also to ensure that there are right kind of policies, the procedures, which again, a lot of things comes into play. And infrastructure also matters. And, it's not only about data, and it also not only about the consent of the data, it's also integrating it in this entire paradigm of the way the universe we are in, right? And government also plays an important role to bring in the right policies. And
so I'm going to ask you a loaded question. Such a beautiful thing. It's like as if you're playing God, but you are dependent on ordinary people. The government has to bring in laws. The people have to cooperate. People have to cooperate. There must be funding. You need only. So is it that all these good things
Yeah.
are not yet democratized, and it is only those who can afford to invest who will create such innovative benefits through products and services using technology? Is AI a capitalistic tool today and available for those who can afford to spend money? I mean, can it not be used to better the life of an ordinary individual, to improve livelihood, improve quality of life? Do they always have to say, "Hey Alexa"?
No, no. Definitely, the journey is towards that. Like the UN recently, I think in 2015, they came up with this development model, sustainable development plan, I would say. They have these goals by 2030. It should be in such a way. It's not particularly AI, but even AI sustainability is part of it, where we say that by 2030, at least it should be in such a way, the technology should have emerged in such a way that it should be for all the people. We should not even let even one person out of this game, right? Towards that direction is what a lot of analysis, a lot of research, a lot of summits have come into play to see what is really lacking at this point of time, right? And what should be really targeted for at each segment. Let's say even as a developer, as even the organization, or because technology is moving very fast in a very fast pace. But how is that if government is not really understanding the underlying need of it, that the technology is facing up? But if the government is, I mean, I hope I'm not giving a lot of detailing about, just as in
How the
maybe
government should work? Of course, as
yeah.
citizens, you're a taxpayer. You have the right to tell the government. The government is,
So
after all, a service provider. We pay
yeah.
taxes, and you can
so
tell them what they have to do.
so yeah, in that direction a lot of activities have been done, a lot of push has been created, because there's no point in we creating and generating a very high level shift pace technology, but then we don't have the rhythm of the underlying structure or infrastructure itself. So there we have identified, if you say, I think there were around 169 targets which under the sustainable goals by 2030 we have to accomplish. I think AI, somewhere around half a century of the targets, we are not able to accomplish, right? Because of some underlying things which has to be still upskilled, right? So there are still some in pockets, there are group activities or group core people who are working towards it. So,
So, are
for
you
example,
working with governments in this? Are you engaging with government to change laws, reform regulations, and stuff like that to enable stuff like these to happen? Is
this
there
is
an engagement?
from communities of the AI councils and other, it's happening.
You are
Uh,
doing it as a
yes,
whole.
but then
Okay.
people like us definitely can influence and say, okay, this is what we need as a technology. Like say, testing infrastructure. This is what I need, and this is what is a test bed I need. Then pushing through the organization or through the influencing parties to make it happen,
So, are
right?
you working on some predictive intelligence side, like how to, there are pockets where people are very poor and the monsoon has failed. It is an agrarian economy. So, therefore, this year on drought, there is going to be people going hungry. Therefore, as a government, are there artificial intelligence based tools which will say this is where food distribution has to go first, or it has to go in the next 20 days or whatever it is.
Sure, sure.
So, about
Actually,
food, hunger,
yeah,
poverty elevation, and
yes.
education. Can AI and such tools bring down the cost of delivering education?
Definitely yes, definitely yes. So like I said, those the goals which I said, the 70 plus. So one of them is zero hunger, to reach towards the zero hunger by 2030. And this is where, like for example, a poor farmer also should be able to gauge like what should be the crop maybe I should be cultivating the next month, or what will be the yield, for instance. It should not be spending so much of money or a big AI system to do it, right? It could be as
True.
simple as, for example, sorting out oranges, which is good and a bad thing, deploying
Mm-hmm.
AI there, or even getting to know in through a app. It's already there. Some of the startups have already done it, where this irrigation app, in on the app, the farmer will actually get this indication that, okay, this is what is going to be the level of the monsoon. This crop is better for you to cultivate, and this will be the yield. All those are actually happening. Slowly it is catching up. So definitely
Right.
that's one of them. And of course, another one is education. Definitely now in COVID times, I myself need I have the necessity, because for my kids, when I'm working and then I want my child to be engaged, right? With the system of AI. No, but then it's only during the meetings or something, like, I hear my daughter was banging the door right now. So I wish there is an AI system, I just put the system and then, she has this word, augmented
Stops.
reality.
Doesn't matter.
So that's what it is. Yeah.
Lovely. Great. So what is your roundup 1 minute to tell the world about what you're doing and how it will benefit people?
Okay. I'm here all to, have this vision to ensure that at least whatever I can bring in as a complementary part of, productization, utilizing AI, which can make lives very simpler, stress-free, right? And acceptable. That's most important, because maybe things are there, but then we may not really use it. But I want that need to be there. So it's like, I want to give the world, when I say, of course, it is involving all the ecosystem of my team or my people who are around me, right?
Gods will not depend on angels. So speak for yourself.
Okay, so I really want this, I always have envisioned this goal, that or aim, how I wish I want to give to the society per se, what they really need, instead of pushing the things to them, what they really need. This is always a problem when the technology comes. We'll try to, as you said, we try to align it, our
Right.
need to that, because the technology is available, we'll try to adopt it. And most of it's
Absolutely.
happening, AI. Many times we don't need AI in some of the simple applications, for example, right?
Yeah.
But we try to, use it kind of. But that is not what my goal is. Use it wisely and aligning with what the needs are for the society. That is what I would say. That's my main goal.
Lovely. So what is the happiest thing for you in a day? What makes you the happiest? We'll close on that note, because I'm sure there are a lot of people happy listening to you, hearing you, viewing it. So
Sure. Okay, and personal front, of course, to be with my children, and now a lot of time is with my family and my children. Definitely, I'm always happy about it. And being with my children and still having to do something very new, learning new things, definitely it's my happiest moment, because at this point of time, I've taken up IMB course, advanced
okay.
program management course, which is still running, and then also a
With the
PG
Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore?
Bengaluru, yeah. And
Yeah.
then another in parallel one is a PGP course in AI for leaders.
Okay.
Learning as well as with family, it's a real good combination to have, and I'm really happy about it.
So has Honeywell, lovely, thank you. So Honeywell has said work from home till 2025?
Oh, no. At least for a couple of months, I guess.
Okay.
At this point of
Great.
time, yeah. So
Lovely having you with us. Shobha, it's a pleasure. On behalf of WEF 2020 World Women Economic Forum, or Ladies League, I have been just informed that you are being awarded the iconic woman, somebody who makes the world a better one. So here is the iconic woman award to you from WEF 2020. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Lovely time ahead.
thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Thanks for making it a very good
You're welcome.
conversation. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.